All right. Well, it's good to see everybody here, and just kind of want to go over a little bit about what way we kind of want to do this. I'm sorry I missed the last one. I forgot I had an appointment and I need to go get my eyes checked. And so, anyways, they're both still there apparently. So, but you know, we want to make this as relaxed and open as we can. So so I just want to encourage everybody that keep your microphones muted unless you want to say something. Go ahead and unmute and talk. We can use the chat, but it'd be great if we could hear from you as well. One of the things that I know that I missed is being able to talk to everybody and visit with everybody. So it's great to see people and to visit with people and talk about some of these things that are going on in our world today, and continue on with our wonderful planning and getting ready for our great 2021 season. So so this little seminar that we're going to do today, this roundtable discussion, I guess, is we want to talk about things that you are doing, changes that you are doing to prepare for 2021, and what your outlook is for 2021. You think that that it's going to do better? Are we going to have a better 2021 than we did in 2020? How are you preparing for that? If so, or if you're feeling like maybe it's not going to be as good of a year, and what you're doing to prepare for that. So if anybody's got some things that they want to go over, I'd be more than happy to sit back and listen. So let me just do a quick aside. My mic is live, so it would be best if we could just, thank you. So sorry about that. I got a new computer on my desk. My old computer did not have a microphone, so I was using my phone before, and it was a lot better. But now with my new computer with a live mic, I'm sure you're picking up everything that's going on around me. So everybody exited the office. So anyway, so I'd like to hear from anybody out there what your thoughts are, and then I'll go through some of the stuff that I have written down as well. So anybody who wants to pipe in, go ahead and pipe in.
Well, on our end, we're looking at projecting for still a banner year going in 2021. We're focusing on continuing the outreach and then taking this new customer base, people who haven't been gardeners, and educating them up. So classes, YouTube videos, we're working on a full slate of those for the upcoming season. And that's a real big push for us, and that's going to be a strong focus for us for the next couple of months.
I think that's excellent. I mean, it's true. There's a lot of new customers. I remember one of the things that we noticed were people that were coming in saying, you know, we're planning to shop local because we want to support the local businesses, and so we gathered a lot of new customers this last year. Do you think that that not just those customers who hopefully will come back again this year, but do you think we're going to see that same trend for 2021?
Yeah, I do think we're going to see that. The focus on supporting local businesses and small businesses is going to be an ongoing, I think, theme for the upcoming year.
Excellent. Are you planning on having any events?
Honestly, at this point, no. I don't foresee a short-term turnaround to this. Yes, vaccines and such on the horizon, but even best case scenario suggests that won't trickle down to rural and suburban Oregon until June, past peak season at earliest, if everything goes smoothly. So my best guess is we will not even be allowed to, but we are not planning. And I do a lot of public speaking with other organizations as well, Master Gardeners organizations, garden clubs, etc. And nobody is booking everything. Everybody is doing remote or nothing through March, April next year, already scheduled and committed.
Excellent. Yeah. I'm just curious if anybody out there is planning to do any events in their store, and what that looks like for them. If they've got ideas for doing that kind of a thing. So, bringing in smaller amounts of people. One of the things that we have done in the past is we do our hanging basket planting classes or workshops, and those workshops, we bring in usually about 50 people. We do it about 4 different times, and it works really good. Well, of course, we can't do that. What we have done in the past also is during that 2-week period, because we do it 2 weekends. During that 2-week period, we usually allow people who have done this before to come in during the week and plant up their baskets if they don't want to take the class, but they still want to take advantage of. We do free potting soil at the time. They want the free potting soil anyway and stuff. So when we've let people come in, and usually it's been pretty good that way. We've got a few people here and there. So one of the things that we're thinking about, and we're not sure yet if we're going to plan this or how we're going to do it. So it's still kind of an up in the air idea. But one thing that we thought about was having the basket planting workshop, but either opening it up by appointment and setting appointments for 2 whole weeks, and just allowing certain groups, certain families, certain number of people at a time, or just opening it up and saying, hey, we've got this area, a certain number of people at a time can use this area for planting your baskets, and just leaving it, and instead of having a weekend event, have it go a longer period of time and allow more people to come and over a longer period of time. So that's kind of one idea that we've had. And again, we're still kind of researching whether or not we're going to be able to do that. I don't think we're going to have an answer before the end of the year, but we're kind of thinking along those lines. I'm just wondering, does anybody else have any ideas that they might be thinking about as well?
Well, into the resounding silence, I'll just say anecdotally that, well, we haven't done something like that. I know a couple of organizations that have done those kind of events and taken what was traditionally a 6-hour one-day event and stretched it out by appointment online to come in on over a 2-week span. And that was successful for them. Whether that's going to continue to be successful in the wake of just the overwhelming exhaustion of everybody with dealing with this, I don't know, but that has been done and they were successful with it.
Okay. Yeah, it's probably one of the biggest draws for us. It's one of the, excuse me, it's one of the things that that people look forward to for us, and so we're really, we want to do something. We are planning to do our whole talk, because I usually do a little talk about it, and we're planning on doing that and having it for our website and our YouTube channel so that people can see that, so they can watch it from home if they want to, but we still want to be able to offer something else to other people as well. I want to hear from some other people too. So somebody unmute yourself and let's hear what you have to say. What are your thoughts for 2021? It's quiet out there. That's all right. One thing that we were talking about too is shortages of plant material. So I know that this last year, scrambling to get the right kinds of plant material, so like vegetable starts and things like that were, of course, went crazy, and then flowers went crazy. And for us, we ran out of materials to make hanging baskets, or we probably could have sold hundreds more. But that was kind of where things went for us. It just was running out of materials, I think, was the biggest thing. What are you doing to look at perhaps shortages or things for next year? What are your plans to help alleviate some of those issues? Have you talked to some of your suppliers? Carrie was just talking, Carrie and I were talking earlier, and she was saying that people she's talked to have said that they don't expect to have any shortages, but certain things, if there's certain things that you want, you may want to order them early and get them in early just to make sure. What is everybody else doing to help kind of make up for those issues?
I'm going to speak for a moment as the woody guy rather than the annual veggie guy. And yes, there are real shortages in my world already showing up on the acknowledgments and confirmations that we booked back in July, knowing this was going to be an issue. And so normally I would book a lot of March, April, and then just get the key items for May and June, but really only book out mostly March and April and woodies. And I am booking May shipments now and scheduling them now so that I'm on the books. Of course, there's no substitute for, a good solid relationship with your vendors and being able to just have those conversations. But that's how we're approaching it in Woody Land, because yes, shortages are real, at least in certain key items, and you got to get your orders in and committed.
Definitely. Has anybody noticed any shortages that they want to share? I don't like last year. Sluggo Plus was a big issue. Suddenly there was no Sluggo Plus out there, and there were a couple of other things. I can't remember everything now, but is anybody experiencing anything that I know sometimes it's hard to share with people that you find might be close to your competitive area. But it's also an issue that NNBA can help deal with. So if we, as the NNBA knows what's going on and what we're having trouble finding, we've got that resource of the NNBA office to do their best to try to find these items for us. So if you want to share about that, we can see what we can find, and definitely work together to help each other. So I noticed in the chat, Wenzel Nursery, they have no mic or camera. So they put in the chat that they're starting to educate on substitutes for normal products that are looking limited. So that's also a really good option as well. And looking into different brands or substitutes. What I tell my employees is, in fact, we had a little bit of a sales meeting this morning. One thing we talked about was, your job as a salesperson is to sell the products and services that we provide. And so I say it's my job to give you those products and services, and then it's your job to learn what they are and to sell those things. And so having said that, if I have to bring in something that I can't find, a product, if I can't find pink dogwood and all I can find is hawthorn trees, then sell them hawthorn trees. It's pretty much a matter of learning to sell the products that we have. I think that's really, really important. One thing I hate hearing is when a customer asks, well, do you have any Japanese holly? No, you'll have to check down the road at X place. They might have some down there. And I usually will pull the person aside and coach them and say, your job is not to sell their plants. Your job is to sell our plants. So find them a substitute for that Japanese holly, or get their name and phone number. Let's see if we can find them some. So it's not my job to sell somebody else's stuff, and I don't like to recommend somebody going somewhere else. However, if I do, it's usually an NNBA member I'm sending them to. I used to say, send them to a really, really bad nursery where they have really bad customer service and ugly plants.
Besides just, and I agree totally with Wenzel, finding those, and that's how we made it through this year even was, okay, we can't get that. What are we going to carry? Depth of supply chain. This was a lot more, I think, relevant in my green goods world than it is in some of the hard goods and chem lines. But to maintain those contacts and to know the people in the industry and make those contacts with those vendors that maybe you don't regularly do business with, and say, let's make sure our credit apps are up to date. Let's make sure we have current availabilities from you guys so we can purchase something even if our primary sources are running out.
Yeah, definitely. One of the things that we ran into this last year, we saw this pandemic hit, and we began to worry, are we going to get shut down? What's going to happen? And so we kind of, everything kind of stood still for a little while there for a few days. And then all of a sudden, okay, no, we're going to be open. Okay, but are people going to come in? We don't know. And then this surge of customers came in, and people were buying product that has been sitting around for forever. And it was like, oh, wow, this is great. We're getting rid of some stuff that we needed to get rid of. And, and everything was selling. But the one thing that we really didn't do a very good job with this year was getting product priced and put away in a proper amount of time. And it was so difficult because, we would get a load of bedding plants in, and you couldn't get them off the carts. People were just pulling them off the carts and taking them, and trying to get this product into our POS system, getting everything all done up. So I guess one preparation that we're going to try for this year is we're going to try to have tags, signage, and all of that ready to go before the product gets here. I would love to talk with somebody who does good at that and find out, what your process is. How do you set that up to make that work? Anybody out there who does a good job with that?
My opinion of that is, unfortunately, you're going to have to hire more people, because now we have someone that does all of our marketing, and she does all the emails, all of our ordering online as far as getting things copied, and she actually doesn't do it all. And then she gets our signage for every week. And that isn't even the tagging of everything. That is just getting the sales done so that we have our rewards program. We do a special Tuesday through Thursday and gets the computerized sale when they put in their rewards. So to me, it just takes more labor. So you just have to be able to allocate it. And it's also just making sure that you've got the right staff on the right days for when the product comes in. And they know that their goal is to get that stuff on the floor. And I'm not talking about anything that anyone doesn't know or do. But to me, it's labor. You can't sell it if you don't have it. If it's not on the shelf and it's on a rack that's in the back, they're not going to see it. They're not going to buy it. So it's allocating your labor properly.
Excellent.
I guess the only other thing I'd add in on that would be the buyers, the department level buyers, have to maintain that communication with that reception staff. As Lynette pointed out, the marketing staff. We also have a fairly solidly dedicated just stock receiving staff to take stuff into, put it into inventory, get tags generated, all of that. But that communication has to be there, and it has to be there ahead of the product landing, not just as it's coming in, so that can be done. And communication is the challenge, and good tools for that are indispensable.
Sure. Anyone else want to chime in?
Hey, Tim, this is Scott Lander. Can you hear me?
Hi, Scott. Yeah, good to hear from you.
Okay. So I've been listening to the whole thing while I'm driving on the freeway, and a couple of things that I think comments I'd made that are they're related to earlier conversation. One is I think we're going to get hit with manufacturing shortages that we would have no way to know. For instance, we were talking to GK Machine the other day about polycarbonate, and they said, well, almost all of the manufacturers of polycarbonate have switched over to making plexiglass. So there's very little polycarbonate out on the market. I mean, how would you know that? And then, and I heard earlier this fall on a building supply kind of show, and the guy was saying, you know, we can't get any bottles to put our product in. We have plenty of product, but there are no trigger sprayers out there on the market. I assume those were all made in China, and there was no supply. So I think those kinds of things are going to just drop into our world and there's no way to prepare for that. So we are going to have to be flexible, like you said, and switch over to other things or have some alternates. But I don't know how you really prepare for that. And as far as next spring, we've had we're not doing any, not any. We're doing a little bit of marketing on Facebook, but that's about it. Don't have a dedicated person to that. So we're not really aggressively going after the advertising on anything. And we have been in October and November, both months, we've been up 100% over our normal sales for this time of year. And it's mostly people buying shrubs. So which just tells me that people got in the habit or got started on projects and they haven't finished. And I think it's still going to be there. The only thing that's going to prevent next year from being probably as good as this year is the weather. And I don't expect it to be, for us at least, it was perfect. I mean, the fall, the spring, summer, there wasn't any way you could make it any better. So that may dampen it a little bit, but I think if people can, it's going to be the same kind of season as we had this year. Those were my two comments.
Excellent. That's great comments, Scott. And yeah, it's I think with the fires and yeah, summer could have been better with no smoke, or fires. But I think with the fires too, I think we're going to see a lot of people doing some re-landscaping. So I think we're going to see our woody categories, trees and shrubs, increasing for this next year as people do some re-landscaping and stuff like that. So so we can kind of see, perhaps we can plan for that. But yeah, your comment about the manufacturing industries, just down the road from me is a place that sells trailers, and I'm kind of friends with the owner there, and he was saying that they just can't get trailers. They what they get, they sell out. He said they've had the best year ever. He's by far, they've sold tons and tons of trailers, but they just can't get the inventory. He said, if I could get 100 more trailers in here, he said, I can sell them, but I can't get them because of the manufacturing. And I believe in that situation is raw materials, because they are manufactured in the U.S., but I think it's just getting the raw materials is where they're really struggling. And I think you're right that that's going to trickle down to our industry, and we're going to see that perhaps probably a little later than what most would see. But hopefully it will be a smaller turnaround time on that as well. I noticed in the chat, Eric said, have your vendors pre-priced, or have your vendors pre-priced if you can. It's worth the extra cost. That's a great point too. You look at what it costs for a tag, and then the printing of the tag and having somebody put it on there. Pre-pricing from vendors is a really great idea. Excuse me. Lynn Holmes said, sorry, Mike is not working, to Wenzel's comment. I found the shortage situation as an opportunity to reassess our hard goods inventory. I found that there are some SKUs that can be eliminated. Definitely agree with Eric's comment. So yeah, the pre-pricing and then watching, you know, I think this on our first roundtable discussion, one of the things that I said was, you know, it's great to see all these things that haven't sold in a while, have them go away. And I just now have to make sure that we don't reorder those. Because, you know, when I look at that and I see that we sold, we sold 15 grass flip-flops this month. So that's probably a good thing. Don't order 100 more. So yeah, just recognizing those items that we probably shouldn't have carried in the first place. Glad to see them go. Fantastic that they was sold at full price, and make more room for those products that do sell, and that we get good margins on. Does anybody else have anything they want to add as far as strategic planning for 2021? Anything you'd like to share about things that you're doing that maybe are a little different from your normal planning?
I think we have Marcy coming on.
Oh, good.
Hi, Marcy.
Hello. Sorry, wasn't able to join sooner. Okay.
Hi, Marcy. Good to see you.
All right, I'm here.
So, you know, I have a question to the group. You know, at NNBA, we always know when you guys are starting to get your hard good orders in, because, you know, we increase invoices start to come in, you know, more heavily. And I'm kind of curious if anyone can say, are they like on hard good orders, or do they come in when the manufacturers get them and send them to you, or can you ask them to come in earlier? Is anyone having orders come in earlier this year than normal?
Got scheduled for, you know, the December 15th dates, and more than likely will bring in as much as I can, try to get our inventory done for the year end before all that stuff arrives, so I'm not having to double count that. We are getting our border concepts order in December, which we normally bring in January, because it's got all of that indoor small pottery on it, and that's still selling like hotcakes. So yes, do I want to do that? No, but I'm going to anyway, just because let's get it in and sell it. If they're still shopping, I'm buying. And I've never bought this late in my whole life. I've never bought stuff in November to have it shipped with, you know, Jensen and L&L. And yes, we won't have Jensen anymore. I don't do $100 grand. So that's an interesting concept. But I think shopping will be different. Because of the fact we don't have access to Jensen, and there's just certain products that I always bought from them that I could always fall back onto. So my frustration is real. And I'm still buying in from them so that I can get those products that I can't get elsewhere. And so I'm going to backstock them. Do I want to do that? No, but I will do it just so I can figure out how I'm going to replace those products. That's it for me. Nobody.
You know, so we kind of have got some items in early, just because we figured that some of this stuff is probably going to be hard to get in spring. So there are a few items, plant material wise as well as hard goods wise, that we decided to bring in early. But one of the things that I noticed also was that, and it wasn't just the NNBA, but it was through just about all of our suppliers and stuff. the dating programs were not nearly as good this year as they have been in the past. And usually we get the stuff in because we know we're going to get May or June dating on that, and it's going to be great because we can get it in, we can get it out, we can sell some of it before the bill comes due. But boy, there was not nearly as good. The discounts and the dating this year were not as good at all. We, of course, I think like everybody else, the added sales, added profitability gave us the opportunity also to buy and pay for some of those items that we would normally pay for in maybe March and April. So now we're getting that in. We're paying for it earlier. We have the product on hand now, and so it's a little different because I'm watching my bank account crash, but I'm realizing too that I'm cutting out those expenses that I'm going to see early on in the season anyway. And so the budgeting is a little weird, but it's something that we've kind of decided we're going to try this out, see how this works, and hopefully have a chance to maybe sell some of the product before we normally would as well.
Tim, in answer to your question about moving things forward and receiving things earlier, our experience over the years has been lousy as far as trying to get vendors to ship early. If I put 115, that's it. I mean, or 215, whatever date you put when you order it, they're not very willing, whether it was Jensen or L&L or whoever, they're not very adept at changing it. So we just tried to slide some things a little earlier this year. All the garden accents in November and December, and the supplies in January. We'll see what happens.
Excellent. Anybody else?
So I have a question. Seed sales have always been okay in the fall. When I ever get the orders in from Ed Humes and stuff, have just a question to the group. How have seed sales been throughout the fall, and what are you going to be doing to prepare for, large rushes of seed in the spring? Adding any additional seed racks? If you're carrying one brand, are you adding another brand?
Well, of course, for us, I'm sure it's just like everybody else, seed sales went crazy this last year, and so we have increased our seeds, and we kind of went a little different this time around. Last year we did mostly guaranteed sale with a lower margin, and this year we're actually buying the seed in, and we don't want to have to deal with the seed returns. We think we're going to have a pretty good season with seeds, so I don't think there's going to be a lot of returns. One of my racks, when we sold completely out of seed on that rack. The other rack, we had reordered probably 3 times during the season. Of course, they ran out, but we still had seed left over on that rack. But I think this year we're going with all, we're outright buy on the seed. So that's a little bit different for us. I think we'll get a better margin on it, and I think we can do good with maybe discounting after the rush of the season goes through to sell the rest of the seed. But yeah, I think we have usually 3. Well, you should have 2 seed companies this year. We're going with 3, and we have 2 of our racks in stock now. I'm a little reluctant to put them out, although we'll probably go up pretty soon. But inventory is starting to happen, and I don't want to have to inventory that seed.
So from Eric, it says in the chat, seeds are still selling well. We are adding a brand and have extra racks. There you go. So put a little bit more seed racks on your floor. Well, Tim.
Okay, I have another comment.
Yes.
Okay, so I think I probably did one of the smarter things I've done recently on seeds is that I let my two sons, who don't have this long history of what doesn't sell and what you shouldn't carry, and companies I didn't like dealing with, and so they did the ordering on seed racks, and they really loaded it up because, like Tim was saying, we sold out all but like 3 packages out of one rack, out of our main rack. And so they just said, okay, if we can send 50% back, we're going to load it up. And so we just got that in. We'll have an additional rack from one of my hated vendors. So I said, okay, go ahead, order from them. That's fine. Let them find out. So anyway, but we'll probably sell a lot more stuff. So it should work.
I have a question.
Yes.
Does anybody have, is anybody discounting their Christmas tree ornaments selling as people were hoping in this time? I'm talking to, no, I'm talking on my,
That's a great question. So we don't do Christmas tree ornaments, but if somebody else do Christmas tree ornaments, you want to talk about how well they're selling and how that's going for this year so far?
We gave up on them last year, and well, it just drove me crazy to store away $4,000 to $5,000 worth of inventory that didn't sell very well. And so what we did is we took those trees and we put puzzles on the trees. We put our hand tools on them, our slogger boots, and I've gotten rave reviews. And
that's good. I like that.
I can't do it anymore. I will back up and say I did buy a batch of gnomes, those cute little gnomes but they're really not very much, maybe like $300. That's about it. So, I won't say I'm completely out, but no, I'm not doing it anymore. You can't make me.
Hi, this is Denise with Ritter's. So our Christmas this year has gone fairly well. We didn't buy a lot of ornaments to begin with, but the ornaments that we have purchased have sold. We did a gnome area in our garden store, and that area is completely depleted out. So next year we'll do that as, as like a bigger area. But our stand, we've only did what, Kurt, 6 trees. Our snowman tree area is a little bit slower this year, where last year that was completely depleted. So we bought a few more for that. But really, all in all, we've done really well. And it's only, we still have at least 2 more weeks of really good sales of Christmas. Our puzzles, we did get some puzzles, and those are we've ordered probably like 4 or 5 times, and they're still like really selling, like a lot. So that's what our Christmas is doing. Our wreaths are doing really well too, and all that. We don't do cut trees, we do potted trees. Those are a little bit slower right now, just because I think people are waiting, because they can't put them in their house per se right this minute. But so yeah, so we're doing good.
Okay, good.
All right, anything else anybody want to add?
Nope, thank you.
All right,
Okay.
Carrie.
All right, everyone. Well,
Thank you.
thank you for everyone sharing. This was our last one for the year. I don't have anything scheduled for next year. We're having a board meeting next week and going to discuss a few things. As we talked last roundtable, it doesn't really look good for the February meeting so far. So we'll probably be seeing everyone's faces. Hopefully we'll see more faces. But I did talk with Tim, and I am trying to arrange PK meetings with our vendors to be scheduled in January and February, where NNBA will host them, so I could record them and then share them. I have actually have a YouTube account already set up, and I'm working on getting last session for the roundtable up, and as well as this one today. So we have a place to go and be able to bring it back up and relook at. And I think the PKs, as me and Tim talked about, if we can get them recorded, you can watch them, and then the employees that can attend, you can just bring up the video. So I will be working on that schedule and hopefully getting something to everyone before the 1st of January. So, but thank you everyone for joining, and thank you again, Tim, for leading our presentation. So, and everyone, thank you, and hopefully we'll see you sometime maybe in January. Bye.
All right. Goodbye, everybody.
See
Happy
ya.
Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.